Church of England. So the Holy Roman Empire and the Church of England, in those cases, you really had, it was under the divine right of kings. And so you couldn't be a high up government official, or really have any kind of patronage benefits from government officials if you weren't, for the rest of, for all of Europe, a member and were willing to go along with it and be obedient to the Holy Roman Church, the Catholic Church in that case. And then the same thing with England once they broke off the Church of England. By the time we got here in America, we'd had enough of that. We said we don't want to have a state church, a state religion. We don't want to have religious control of government here in America. And we don't want to have government control of religion here either. This is what we call our establishment. This is the idea of our establishment clause, which is in the First Amendment. It's the first part of the First Amendment is the establishment clause. Establishment clause says that Congress shall make no law that establishes a national religion. And you and I take that for granted here. They can't make us be Baptist, Catholic, Mormon, Muslim, Buddhist, Presbyterian,
atheist.
Yeah.
They're trying.
No, that's the establishment clause. And then secondly, we don't want them controlling. Let me just say something about that. Even today, almost all the countries of the world have a state religion. Almost all countries of the world, at least the majority of them, even in Europe, you're kind of our closest political brothers and sisters over there. The Lutheran Church in Germany and Norway, Sweden, Denmark. I lived in Norway for a couple of years, and 2% back then, in the late 60s, early 70s, 2% of your taxes went to support the state church, the Lutheran Church. You were forced to if not be a member, they didn't force you to go to church, but you had to pay for the church and support it, you know. So we said we're not going to have that. We don't want to spend the money, but more importantly, we don't want to have to kowtow and have popes or priests tell us what to do politically in our personal life. So that's the establishment clause.
Can I interject? That
Yes.
sounds something like government and government unions. And you know, if you have to pay union to a government union, pay dues.
Yeah.
You know, same thing.
Yeah. And of course, government. This is the same as what we call the free exercise clause. Free exercise clause. The first two things that they listed in the Bill of Rights, that there will be no establishment, there will be no state church, no establishment of religion here, and they can't make any laws that would prohibit the free exercise thereof, the free exercise of religion. That's a free exercise clause. And these two things together, the truth is that they're hard to distinguish from each other. They kind of go together. They become one and the same. Why would you tie together religion with government, or government with religion? I mean, we understand government wants control, right? So we can understand government wanting to control religion. They want to control everything. But why would a government tie itself to a religion and kind of genuflect to a higher authority like the Pope in the Catholic, or to the King of England, who is also the political? He had his way, and he was the king and he was the head of the church. But why would you tie yourself to a religious thing like that? What would be the purpose of it?
Validity amongst your people, maybe?
Yeah, validity. Using religion to control the masses. In this case, Christianity had grown, was the big thing in Europe, and so, with the Council of Nicaea in about 350 AD, they said, "My gosh, we got to find a way to sort of co-opt the church, Christianity, so we can use that because the people in Europe believed in Christianity. And so they took over. They took over. And they said, we believe in the divine right of kings. And so you couldn't be a king unless the Pope anointed you. So the Pope, or his representative, would anoint the kings of England, right? And then the Church of England, even today, the head of the Archbishop of Canterbury, I guess it is, has to anoint the new King of England or the new Queen of England, whoever's going to be the religious control of government. And it has worked very well for people to give credibility to the government, and it gives them, and I'm sure that in some countries that it's stronger than in other countries. Oh, and a third thing, which gets mentioned in the book, we generally talk about our religious rights and so on. And this is the first one, the Establishment Clause, second is Free Exercise Clause. But another one is later in the Constitution. It says there'll be no religious tests. For office. Yeah, for public office, no religious tests. That's a normal. We're gonna have rather than go over it twice. Now, I've done a good job of avoiding using the text. I mean, my approach has been to suggest that these are the things, if you'll read them, our class will be so much more meaningful, and it'll give you a foundation. And then in class, we talk about, and I don't use the text, but today I'm going to depart from that, and I'm going to use a crutch. I'm going to use the book because there's so much good stuff in there that I want to go over. This is so basic that God is the source and the author of our religious liberty. And so chief among his, we believe, we have said, our founding fathers said that the chief among our God-given unalienable rights are our religious liberties, which are what we're talking about here. I don't think it's by any chance, just chance, that these are the first things that were listed in our Bill of Rights. The freedom from government, coerced religion, the Establishment Clause, and freedom to choose and live whatever religion we want, or none at all, if that's what our conscience tells us to do, because we're the sovereigns. Our government is not here, our founding fathers said, to judge our eternal salvation. That's something that we as individuals have to decide for ourselves, and we're responsible to God for that. Whoever he is, or she, I'm not going to say that. Okay. So if you will, if you have your 5,000-year leap, I recommend that you go to it, because we're going to spend a lot of time in the book for the first and only time this year. And I've lost my
I've got
glasses.
some spares. You want to borrow one?
No, I read it at home, but I meant to bring it here tonight. I left it with the dog.
Does anyone see,
Wait for your glasses.
speaking of leaving,
Where'd you
no,
go?
does anyone see my reading glasses right here?
Are they in a tube? That's not them. That's
We may
bad.
have a short class. All right. I think I can live with it.
You want me to hold it over here for you?
No, it's fine. In fact, if I stand here in
What
the
page
sun,
are we
I
on?
think that's the main thing.
You can borrow mine for a bit there, Tom.
Pardon?
You can borrow mine for a bit. You seem to like
Those are excellent. He's got trifocals, and I used them one time, and I looked through that third one, and everything was so bright and clear. I don't want to spoil myself. That was excellent. Thanks. If I can't get to it, I'll do that. But our founding fathers emphasize, I'm just starting, and we're going to go through a lot of what's in the fourth chapter here. They acknowledge the supreme importance to the role of religion in this unique society. They felt that the role of religion would be just as important in our day now, they said, throughout history, as it was in their day. In 1787, now remember that's the year that the Constitution was written and sent out for ratification, they also passed the Northwest Ordinance. The Northwest Ordinance, for some reason, doesn't seem to get that much play in history, but the Northwest Ordinance was this wonderful document. I mean, if God was inspiring things right then with the Constitution, he did it with the Northwest Ordinance, I believe also. In it, they emphasize the essential need to teach religion and morality in schools. And I want you to ask yourself the question, why would we encourage teaching religion and morality